Hey guys, it's Leave with Pro Equine Grooms. I have a bunch of my favorite barn hacks today. My first one is when you're in the wash rack and you've got all this wonderful lather doing all of its wonderful cleaning things. In order to save a little bit of water, you can grab your sweat scraper. Thanks, Migs. And before you even rinse, scrape off some of the extra suds and you'll save a bit of water. Quick tip, when I'm giving a bath, I no longer use a sponge and a bucket anymore. I just take my shampoo, I put it right into my hand, and then you can lather your horse from there. So one of my favorite things to do is to get a nozzle from the garden center, one that has lots of settings. Use the flat setting. And this acts like a squeegee as you're rinsing your horse. Sometimes you forget where your sweat scraper is, sometimes it's grown legs and walked away, but you're in need of one, you can use a piece of baling twine instead. You just pull it kind of taut and then lay it on your horse. It's kind of nice because you can go over some of the bony areas also. And there you go, instant sweat scraper. So one of the things I like to do for horse shows and sometimes even everyday use is I like to make my own grooming wipes. These are handy because, oh, did you hear grooming wipes? All right, these aren't edible. These are nice because they're convenient and they can save you a little money instead of buying your own grooming wipes. So I've used some actual baby wipes here and I've just added a bit of my favorite spot remover. Pour in a little bit, add a little bit of water, shake everything up. The next day you're ready to go. The other thing you can use is go to like one of the big box stores and pick up some shop wipes. Those are like really heavy duty paper towels that you would use in a garage or you know, in a mechanic shop or something like that. Those are great for grooming wipes because they're a little stronger than the traditional baby wipe. This is my favorite thing to have at the barn year-round, but especially in the wintertime. This is an instant hot water kettle. And I turned it on about a minute ago and already I can start hearing it start to bubble. So I'm going to shut it off. And my favorite way to use the hot water is to dunk a cloth in and use this for stain removal in the winter. But I can also take this cloth and hold it over my horse's bit for a few moments in the winter and make it much more comfortable for the tacking up process. Great also for creating a warm mash or putting some hot water on your horse's meals during the winter time, and lots of other uses. So here's my tip for sorting laundry. We all know that when you take the polo wraps and the stand wraps out of the washer and dryer, they turn into a giant hot mess of spaghetti. So the first thing you do is you untangle them. The second thing you have to do is match them up. And what I do is I create matching designs on the ends of my wraps so that as I'm doing my laundry, I can match up which goes with which. Obviously, if you have one pair of green, not so necessary, but if you're doing, you know, 10 pairs of white polo wraps, it helps to be able to match them up like this. So we all know that horses like to do things to give us mild heart attacks and require the vet to come out. And sometimes your vet will give you an ointment. Now this is a fairly large ointment, but as we all know that ointments tend to come in really small containers, so you can put a piece of masking or duct tape on the end. This makes it easy to find, it makes it easy to hold, and if as you are getting down to the last bits, it's really easy to hold on to and squeeze everything to the top. The other thing is you can write the instructions on it quite easily, and there you go. Keep these in your vet kit. So if you have a horse that likes to, how do you say, chew things, and you want to kind of knock that habit down a little bit, you can get a bar of the stinkiest soap that you could possibly find. I use Irish Spring, and you just rub it on all the chewed places. Now, of course, after it rains, you're probably going to have to reapply. But generally speaking, I've never met a horse that likes the taste of soap. So my favorite way to keep hoof goops from gooping up everything around your barn, counters, boxes, things like that, is to get a mushroom tray from the grocery store. Of course, they come with mushrooms in them, so you'll have to do something about that. But then bring them to the barn and you can store anything that drips in them. So one of my favorite tricks, if you can't find your scissors or your blade or whatever, and you need to open a bale of hay, is to get a piece of baling twine, and I know we have them everywhere. And you take one end of it, string it under the piece of twine under bale, and then saw back and forth till it pops. So if you have a horse that normally has an extremely well-fitting blanket, they can still start to get dents in their hair covering from their blankets. And one way to help prevent that is to just tuck an old quilt into the front of their blanket, creating a little bit of a bib. You can also use it up on their withers.